The train's brakes screamed like a dying animal, metal grinding against metal in the endless Chicago dust. And Justin felt the vibration rattle up through his boots, straight into his chest where his heart was already shattering. "You're dead to me. But don't you dare follow," his father's voice boomed over the hiss of steam, the words landing like a slap across the platform, witnessed by indifferent commuters who averted their eyes. Justin stood frozen, backpack slung heavy over one shoulder, the weight of 18 years of unspoken secrets finally crushing him as the old man, broad-shouldered, face carved from years of steel mill grit, turned his back and boarded without a backward glance, leaving his only son to the mercy of the wind-whipped rain. Justin's knees buckled, but he didn't fall. Not yet. The platform blurred through the downpour, taillights of the departing train streaking red like fresh wounds, and he whispered to the empty air, "What the hell did I do wrong?" It wasn't a question for answers, it was a keening. The first crack in the dam he'd built around his soul since that fumbling kiss with Tommy behind the bleachers in high school. The one that had tasted like freedom and fear in equal measure. But at 22, with a duffel bag holding everything he owned, a few faded band tees, a dog-eared copy of The Catcher in the Rye, and the Polaroid of his mom smiling before cancer took her, he was adrift in the windy city, a ghost in his own life, wondering if love was just another word for exile. He stumbled off the platform into the underbelly of Union Station, the grand halls echoing with footsteps that weren't his own. Marble floors gleamed under fluorescent lights, but to Justin, it felt like a mausoleum, cold and echoing with the ghosts of was. His phone buzzed once, his father's number. A single text, "Don't come home." Ever. He deleted it, then powered off the device. The screen's glow dying like a snuffed candle. Hunger gnawed at him, but pride kept him moving, past the food court smells of greasy pretzels and overpriced coffee, toward the exit where the city waited like a beast ready to devour the unwary. The November chill bit into his flannel, the kind of wind that sliced through layers and straight to bone. Chicago sprawled before him, skyscrapers clawing at the bruised sky, the distant hum of the L train rattling like his pulse. He had $50 in his wallet, enough for a night in a flophouse if he was lucky, but luck had run dry back in Gary, Indiana, where his dad had caught him scrolling Grindr on the family laptop, the app's rainbow flag a scarlet letter in their Rust Belt Catholic home. Faggot, the old man had spat, not in rage but in disgust. Like Justin was a stain he could scrub out with denial and distance. Justin hailed a cab with shaking hands, the driver eyeing him like yesterday's trash. "Boys Town," he muttered, the words slipping out before he could second-guess it. He'd heard whispers of it from online forums late at night, Halsted Street, where the rainbow flags flew unapologetically. A haven for kids like him cast out by blood that turned to ice. The ride cost $20, leaving him with chump change. But as the cab wove through traffic, past the glittering loop and into the neon-veined heart of North Ulstead, something stirred in his gut. Not hope. Exactly, hope was a luxury for fools, but a flicker of defiance. The same spark that had made him kiss Tommy despite the dread. The driver dropped him at Belmont and Halsted, where the air thrummed with bass from drag bars and the laughter of clusters too carefree to be straight. Justin paid and stepped out, the backpack digging into his shoulders like anchors. Streetlights painted the sidewalks in pinks and blues, and there, under a flickering sign for Sidetrack Video Bar, he saw his first real sign, a group of guys his age, arms linked, sharing a cigarette and stories that spilled into the night. One of them, with a fade haircut and a leather jacket slung over broad shoulders, locked eyes with him. "You look like you could use a drink." "Stranger," the guy called, voice warm as bourbon. That was Alex. 24. With laugh lines already etching his dark brown eyes and a smile that could disarm a bomb. A barista by day, aspiring playwright by night, Alex was the kind of queer Chicagoan who'd clawed his way out of a conservative suburb in Naperville, trading golf courses for poetry slams. He didn't pry when Justin mumbled about a family fight, just slid a stool his way at the dive bar's scarred oak counter and ordered 2 shots of Jameson. To fresh starts, Alex toasted, clinking glasses, and for the first time that night, Justin felt the knot in his chest loosen. Just a thread. They talked until last call about nothing and everything. Alex shared how he'd come out at 16, his mom baking him a pride cake, while his dad pretended it was just another Tuesday. Justin nodded, nursing his beer, the warmth spreading like sunlight through cracks. When the lights flickered on, Alex offered his couch. "No strings. Just a roof." Justin hesitated, the trust foreign after his father's betrayal, but exhaustion won. They cabbed back to Alex's walk-up in Wrigleyville, a shoebox apartment stacked with dog-eared scripts and half-finished canvases from his artist roommates. That first night, Justin lay on the lumpy futon, staring at water-stained ceilings, the city's distant sirens a lullaby. Sleep came in fits, haunted by his dad's face, red-veined eyes, calloused hands that had once tossed a baseball with him now clenched in judgment. He woke to the smell of coffee and Alex's easy grin, flipping pancakes in a kitchen that doubled as a closet. "Figured you'd need fuel for whatever war you're fighting," Alex said, plating them with a wink. Justin ate like a man starved, the sweetness sticking in his throat, a reminder that kindness could taste like home. Days blurred into a rhythm. Justin crashed at Alex's, picking up odd jobs, dog walking in Lincoln Park, bartending shifts at a hole-in-the-wall called the Closet, where the crowd was a mosaic of lost boys and found souls. Alex dragged him to open mics at the Annoyance Theater, where queers spilled guts on stage about hookups gone wrong and heartbreaks that felt biblical. Justin watched, mesmerized, the vulnerability a mirror to his own buried ache. One night, after a set about unrequited crushes, Alex leaned in close under the bar's dim lights, breath minty with gin. "You ever gonna tell me your story, G? Or we just gonna keep pretending you're Indiana Jones on a bender?" Justin swallowed. The words lodged like thorns. But Alex's hand on his knee, casual, steady, coaxed them out. Halting at first, then in a rush, the discovery, the station, the abandonment. "He looked at me like I was poison," Justin finished, voice cracking, eyes fixed on the scarred tabletop. Alex didn't flinch. Instead, he pulled him into a hug that smelled of patchouli and possibility, murmuring, "That man's loss is my gain. And Chicago's. Welcome to the family, kid." What bloomed between them was slow, tentative, a brush of fingers over dish soap suds, a shared umbrella in the sleet, late-night confessions under threadbare blankets. Justin's first kiss with Alex happened on a rooftop in Boys Town, fireworks cracking over Lake Michigan for the 4th of July, the sky exploding in reds and golds that mirrored the heat building in his veins. Alex tasted like summer and safety, his hands gentle on Justin's waist, pulling him close until the world narrowed to just them. Two bodies learning the language of touch. Whispers of, "I've got you," against collarbones. But love in the margins is a fragile thing, built on borrowed time. Justin threw himself into reinvention, enrolling at community college for graphic design, sketching logos for local queer nonprofits on napkins during breaks. Alex's plays gained traction, a raw one-act about a father-son rift over a rainbow flag, eerily close to Justin's bone, that sold out at Steppenwolf's smaller stage. They were a unit, Justin and Alex, navigating the city's pulse, pride parades where floats thundered with anthems of survival, underground raves in abandoned warehouses where bodies moved like waves, free and unashamed. Yet shadows lingered. Justin's nightmares brought the station back, the rain, the receding train, his dad's silhouette shrinking to nothing. He'd wake gasping, Alex's arms a lifeline pulling him back. "You're not alone anymore," Alex would soothe, tracing the faint scar on Justin's knuckles from a childhood fight. But doubt festered. Was this real? Or just pity dressed as passion? And Alex, his eyes sometimes distant, phone buzzing with texts from a producer in New York, whispers of big breaks that pulled him away for auditions. The first crack came in autumn, leaves turning the parks to fire. They were at a house party in Andersonville, fairy lights strung like stars, the air thick with weed and wistful indie folk. Justin laughed louder than usual, buoyed by cheap rose, when he overheard Alex on the balcony, voice low, "Yeah, he's great. But you know how it is. Dad still asks when I'm settling down with a girl." Laughter followed, light but laced with something sharper. Justin froze in the doorway, the words an echo of his own exile. Was he just a phase? A rebellion Alex would outgrow? He confronted him later, in the cab ride home, the city lights streaking like accusations. "Am I your experiment, Alex? Something to piss off the folks until the spotlight calls?" Alex's face crumpled, denial spilling out. "God, G. It's just pressure. The play's blowing up, and they're thrilled, but they still see me as their golden boy. This," he gestured between them, "this, a beautiful, broken thing. They made up in bed, bodies frantic and forgiving, but the seed of betrayal took root, quiet and insidious. Winter clamped down hard, snow blanketing the streets in hush. Justin's sketches evolved into a portfolio, bold lines capturing the raw edges of queer life, a father turning away, a son rising from ashes. He landed a freelance gig designing posters for a youth shelter, the pay meager but the purpose electric. Alex's play transferred off-Broadway, a whirlwind of press junkets and late-night calls. This could change everything, he'd say, eyes alight. But Justin saw the distance growing, calls from that producer turning into dinners, then overnights. The betrayal hit like a blizzard, sudden, blinding. Justin found the email on Alex's laptop, left open in haste, a thread with the producer, words blurring into intimacy. "Miss you in the city. Last night was magic, let's make it real." Photos attached. Grainy but unmistakable, Alex, shirtless in a hotel room, lips on another's neck. Justin's stomach roiled, the room spinning as memories flashed, rooftop kisses, whispered promises, now tainted, cheapened. He packed his bag that night, silent as snow, leaving a note on the fridge, Build your own spotlight. I'm done being the shadow. The door clicked shut behind him, the sound final as a gavel. He crashed on a friend's couch in Logan Square, a drag queen named Ruby with a heart bigger than her wigs, who enveloped him in sequins and sympathy. Honey, betrayal's just love's ugly cousin. You'll rise, she drawled, pouring him tea spiked with whiskey. The weeks that followed were a descent into numbness. Justin ghosted through classes, his designs turning jagged, all thorns and no light. He avoided Boys Town's glow, holing up in dive bars on the south side where the crowds were rougher, less performative. One night, 3 sheets to the wind, he picked a fight with a straight-laced yuppie who sneered at his fairy vibes. This flew, blood on the pavement, and Justin ended up in Cook County lockup. The irony bitter, jailed for defending the skin he'd been born in. Bail came courtesy of Ruby and a ragtag crew she'd rallied, theater kids from Alex's orbit, barbacks from the closet, even a tattoo artist who'd inked Justin's first pride flag on his ribcage. They waited outside in the dawn chill, a motley family armed with coffee and corny signs. Justin's got us. No questions, no pity, just presence. In that moment, slumped against the chain-link fence, Justin felt the first thaw. Not forgiveness, not yet, but the realization that family wasn't blood or lovers, it was this. The chosen ones who showed up when the world didn't. Spring crept in, tentative as a truce. Justin moved into a shared flat in Ukrainian village with Ruby and 2 others, Marco, a soft-spoken nurse with a penchant for baking empanadas, and Lena, a trans barista whose laugh could chase storms. They dubbed it the Queer Collective, a chaotic haven of thrift store furniture and midnight jam sessions. Justin's designs caught eyes, a mural for the shelter, all soaring figures from fractured homes, and gigs trickled in, steadying his bank account if not his heart. Alex tried to reach out, voicemails thick with regret. I fucked up. It was one night. The pressure. Please. Justin deleted them. The wound too raw. But he didn't hate him. Pity. Maybe, for the man chasing lights that dimmed the ones already burning bright. Instead, he poured it into therapy, mandated after the bar fight, where a no-nonsense counselor named Dr. Reyes unpacked the station's ghost. Your father's fear isn't your shame, she said, her voice a steady anchor. It's his prison. You're free. The high tide came in June. Pride Month's fever pitch. Justin's mural debuted at a block party on Halsted. A 20-foot canvas of intertwined hands, brown, but smooth, rising from a cracked platform stamped Union Station. The crowd swelled, dykes on bikes, twinks in glitter, elders with stories etched in wrinkles. Ruby emceed, her voice booming. This here's Justin's heart on the wall. From abandoned to unbreakable. As the sun dipped, casting the mural in gold, the figure approached, his father, grizzled now, eyes hollowed by time and regret. Word must have spread through Gary's grapevine. Or maybe a newspaper clipping. He stood awkward in khakis and a lion's cap, hands shoved deep in pockets. Son, he started, voice gravelly. I saw this. Read about it. Justin tensed, the old ache flaring. But the crowd's energy held him steady, friends at his back. A new family woven from threads of survival. I ain't here to beg forgiveness, the old man continued, gaze dropping to scuffed boots. I was wrong. Third. Stupid. Your ma. She'd be proud. The beat. Then, can I watch the parade with you? Just this once. Justin's throat tightened. A storm of yes and no. But looking at the man, not the monster of memory, but a widower hollowed by loss, he nodded. One float. Then you go. They stood side by side as the parade thundered past, dragons breathing fire, choirs belting born this way, survivors marching with signs of still here. His father's hand brushed his. Tentative. And Justin didn't pull away. No grand reconciliation. No hallmark tears, just a quiet bridge. Fragile but built. By fault. Justin's life had roots. The collective thrived. A chosen kin that celebrated birthdays with potlucks and heartbreaks with group therapy circles. He dated sparingly, a sweet graphic novelist named Kai. Touches light as sketches, but the real love was here. In the laughter echoing off exposed brick. The shared tattoos of phoenixes rising. One evening, as leaves swirled outside their window, Ruby raised a glass to Justin, who turned nothing into us. Blinked. Eyes misting. From the station's abyss. He'd forged a family not of blood, but of fire, unbreakable, alive. And in the quiet of his room that night, sketching under lamplight, Justin finally believed it. Abandonment wasn't the end. It was the spark. The ink on his latest sketch bled slightly under the lamp's glow. A phoenix's wing smudged like a fresh bruise, mirroring the one fading on his cheek from that Southside scrap. Justin set the pencil down, flexing fingers cramped from hours of line work, and leaned back against the headboard of his narrow bed in the collective's upper flat. The building creaked like an old friend settling in for the night, pipes groaning in harmony with the distant rumble of the blue line. Down the hall, Marco's empanada experiments wafted savory scents, cumin and cheese. A hug in edible form, while Lena's playlist thumped softly from her room. Nina Simone crooning about feeling good. 2 months post-Alex, and the raw edge had dulled to a manageable ache, like a song stuck on repeat but no longer tearing at the seams. Therapy with Dr. Reyes helped. Her sessions a weekly excavation. What does family mean to you now? Justin? Not the one that left, but the one staring back from the mirror. He paused. Hazel eyes tracing the phoenix inked on his rib, flames curling like questions, and murmur. People who stay. Who choose the mess. Kai entered the picture like a soft edit to his grayscale days. They met at a design meetup in Pilsen, amid graffiti-splashed warehouses where artists swapped business cards like secrets. Kai was 25, compact and wiry, with a mop of black curls and glasses perpetually sliding down a freckled nose. A novelist by trade, he doodled book covers on the side. His style whimsical, dragons with typewriters, lovers tangled in plot twists. Your mural, he said, sliding onto the stool beside Justin at the pop-up bar. It gutted me. Like you painted my uncle's story, but with hope stitched in. Conversation flowed easy. No pressure. Just shared sketches over IPAs. Kai's laugh was a sparkler, quick and bright, and when he brushed Justin's hand while critiquing a font choice, neither pulled away. Their first date was low stakes, a walk along the 606 trail. Elevated rails turned linear park, where wildflowers pushed through concrete cracks like quiet rebellions. I came out at 19, Kai confessed. kicking a pebble into the underbrush. Family in Albany disowned me faster than you can say, disappointing. Now it's just me and my cat. Mister. Plot hole. Justin nodded. The parallel bridge. Station drop-off for me. Dad's idea of tough love. They stopped at a bench overlooking the city, knees touching, and Kai's gaze held steady, no pity, just recognition. Wanna know the secret? We don't build alone. We borrow bricks from each other. That night, under string lights at a taqueria, their kiss tasted like cilantro and courage, soft explorations that promised no rush, just presence. Back at the collective, the group absorbed Kai like a well-worn sweater. Ruby dubbed him Curl Boy after one disastrous attempt at straightening his hair for a reading, resulting in a frizz halo that had them all in stitches over brunch mimosas. Marco tested recipes on him, vegan twists on Filipino adobo that left Kai moaning in exaggerated bliss, while Lena roped him into her true crime podcast binges, debating red herrings until dawn. Justin watched it unfold, a warmth blooming in his chest that felt dangerously like belonging, the kind his father had yanked away but these souls rebuilt brick by mismatched brick. Work steady too. The shelter gig evolved into a full-time role, creative director for their youth program, where he mentored kids fresh from their own exiles, trans teens sketching identities, by runaways scripting manifestos. A wiry 15-year-old named Eli with blue-streaked hair and a stutter that softened when he drew, reminded Justin of his younger self. How'd you stop hating the mirror? Eli asked one afternoon, charcoals dusting his jeans. Justin leaned on the drafting table, the room humming with fluorescent buzz and the scratch of pencils. Didn't stop overnight. But I started seeing the cracks as places light gets in. He pulled up his shirt, revealing the phoenix. It's every time I chose to rise anyway. Eli's eyes widened, fingers tracing air over the ink, and in that spark of awe, Justin glimpsed his own healing, passing the torch, not hoarding the flame. But ghosts don't fade easy. October brought a chill wind off the lake, and with it, an envelope from Gary, his father's handwriting, shaky on the return address. Inside, a check for $500 for the mural. Sorta, and a clipping from the Chicago Tribune. His face in the byline, captioned from cast-off to creator. Justin's pulse hammered, a cocktail of fury and fragile want. He showed it to the group over takeout lo mein, forks pausing midair. Cash the damn thing, Ruby advised. Her red lips pursed around a spring roll. Milk the regret, therapy's not free. Lena nodded. Fierce, boundaries. Let him peek, but not touch. Ever the softy? Added. Or invite him to the holiday thing. Neutral ground. Kai, curled against Justin's side on the sagging couch, squeezed his thigh. Your call. I'm here for the fallout. Popcorn optional. He didn't cash it. Instead, he wrote back, a single page. Words poured like rain. Pride was a start. Don't mistake it for absolution. But thanks for looking. No stamp. Just dropped in a mailbox on Division Street. The act a small exorcism. Days later, a postcard arrived. Saw the lake from a bus window once. Beautiful. Dead. Justin pinned it to the fridge, next to Ruby's drag Polaroids and Kai's doodles, a constellation of chosen chaos. Thanksgiving loomed. the city hunkering down against early snow. The collective hosted its inaugural found family feast, a potluck explosion in their cramped dining nook, Ruby's mac and cheese with lobster twists, diva calories only. Marco's turkey lumpia, Lena's gluten-free cornbread that somehow tasted like sin, Kai's pie charts of gratitude scribbled on napkins. Justin manned the stove, basting a ham while stories swirled, Eli's latest sketch, a commission from a Wicker Park gallery that paid rent for a month. The doorbell buzzed, insistent as a heartbeat. Justin wiped flour from his hands, opening to his father's frame. Bundled in a wool coat too thin for the wind, a pie tin clutched like a shield. Heard it was open to strays, the old man grunted, eyes darting past to the laughter within. The room hushed. Then Ruby's voice cut the tension. Well, hot damn. Gary's gatecrasher. Grab a plate. Pops, ain't no judgment at this table. It was awkward as hell, forks scraping, small talk about Bears games and weather, but the old man stayed, sharing a story about Justin's mom baking pies that could fix a broken world. When he left, hugging Justin stiffly at the door, keep rising. Kid, the weight lifted. Not gone. But lighter. Kai pulled him close after, murmuring into his neck, you did good. We're proud. Winter deepened. Holidays a blur of lights and longing. Kai's novel dropped, a queer coming-of-age tale set in upstate Nowheresville, with a protagonist who sketches his way out of silence. Dedication to Jay, who showed me family is drawn, not born. Book launch at Unabridged Books was a crush, fans in rainbow scarves, Ruby reading excerpts in full drag, Justin beaming from the front row, heart full to bursting. But joy's shadow is doubt, and it slunk in on New Year's Eve. They were at a party in Bucktown, bass thumping through exposed beams, when Kai's phone lit up, a call from his agent, voice carrying over the din, as interested. Screenplay adaptation, think Moonlight meets Call Me by Your Name. Kai's face lit. But Justin caught the flicker, the pull of coast to coast, the dream that might drag him west. Later, tangled in sheets at dawn, Justin voiced it, what if it takes you away? Kai traced his jaw, eyes soft. Then we make it ours. Long-distance sketches. Visits in dive motels. You come too. The offer hung. Tempting and terrifying. Justin's roots here ran deep. The collective. The shelter. The city that had caught him mid-fall. I need time, he whispered. And Kai nodded. No pressure. Just a kiss that sealed the pact. Whatever came, they'd face it drawn together. Spring unfurled like a promise kept. Cherry blossoms dusting the park's pink. Justin's program at the shelter expanded. A gallery show of the kids' work drawing donors and press. Eli's piece, a station platform morphing into a skyline of hands, sold for $1,000. The teen's stutter vanishing in the glow of spotlights. You built this, Eli said, hugging him fierce. From nothing. The collective buzzed with change too. Ruby landed a residency at Second City. Marco proposed to his boyfriend over a beach picnic in Evanston. Lena started hormones with a party that involved cake and confetti cannons. Kai's LA talks heated up, but he stayed put, commuting for meetings, his curls perpetually windswept. Their love deepened in layers, lazy Sundays sketching in bed, arguments over takeout that ended in make-up sex, quiet nights where Justin confessed station nightmares and Kai shared his own ghosts of Albany winters. Summer hit like a fever dream. Pride 2026, a riot of color and catharsis. Justin's float, From Exile to Embrace, featured the collective in full regalia, Ruby as a sequined phoenix, Marco waving lumpia flags, Lena belting anthems from a makeshift stage. Kai rode shotgun, their hands linked on the helm, while his dad, invited, tentative, marched a block behind, sign reading Dad's learning. The roar of the crowd drowned Justin's doubts, confetti raining like absolution. That night, rooftop after party under stars smudged by city haze. Kai dropped to one knee, not with a ring, but a sketchpad page, 2 figures, labeled our next chapter. Marry me? Not today. But when you're ready. Build with me. G. Tear stung. Hot and healing. Yes, Justin breathed, pulling him up into a kiss that tasted of forever, sweat slick, soul deep. In the years that followed, the station became legend in their lore, the abandonment that birthed abundance. Justin's designs graced billboards. His book with Kai, a graphic memoir of queer kin, topped indie lists. The collective evolved, a revolving door of souls finding harbor. But the core held, chosen, cherished. And on quiet evenings, as the L rattled past, Justin would trace the phoenix on his skin, whispering thanks to the boy who'd risen from rain, proof that from nothing, everything blooms. The ink had barely dried on the Chicago Reader feature, Queer Cartographer, Justin's Maps of the Heart, when the call came, shattering the fragile piece he'd sketched for himself. It was mid-July, the air thick with humidity that turned the Ukrainian village streets into a steam bath. And Justin was elbow-deep in poster mock-ups for the shelter's annual fundraiser, the AC unit wheezing like an asthmatic uncle in the collective's living room. His phone buzzed on the coffee table, Kai's face lighting the screen, those curls, that grin from their anniversary hike in Starved Rock, and Justin swiped to answer with a distracted, "Hey, plot twist king. Miss me already?" Kai's voice cracked through the line, not the warm timbre Justin craved, but a jagged edge honed by panic. "Gee, it's bad. Dad had a stroke, massive. Albany General. I gotta go." Now, the words landed like bricks, heavy and unyielding, and Justin's stylus clattered to the hardwood, designs forgotten in the pixelated blur. Kai's father, the man who'd shipped him off with a Bible and a bus ticket, now lay felled, tubes snaking like accusations. "I'm booking the first flight," Kai continued, breath hitching. "But the launch party's tomorrow. Your murals." "I can't." "Stop," Justin cut in, rising to pace the room, the group's mismatched rugs muffling his steps. Ruby glanced up from her script, eyebrow arched. Marco paused mid-knead on dough for dinner rolls. "We'll handle it. Family's messy, but it's yours." The irony twisted in his gut, echoes of his own bloodline's fracture, but he shoved it down, focusing on Kai's ragged exhale. "Love you. Call when you land." The line went dead, leaving Justin staring at his reflection in the darkened window, hazel eyes shadowed, jaw set against the storm. The next days blurred into a triage of tasks. Justin rallied the collective like a general. Lena covered Kai's barista shifts with her trademark efficiency, brewing lattes while psychoanalyzing customers. Marco flooded their group chat with care packages, jerky, turtles. Kai's favorite sour candies shipped overnight. Ruby turned the launch into a vigil, dedicating the reading to absent beloveds, her voice a velvet whip through the packed bookstore. Justin manned the merch table, selling signed copies of their joint book, Drawn from Exile. Each transaction a talisman against the worry gnawing his bones. Fans gushed, "This Phoenix? It's me." Post coming out, and he smiled through it. But inside, the station loomed, abandonment specter, whispering what if he doesn't come back. Kai's updates trickled in, texts at odd hours. East Coast time bleeding into his replies. Dad's stable, but weak. Mom's a ghost. Hating this. Then, funerals Saturday. Stroke took him quick. Justin fired back encouragements, laced with his own unspoken fears, the pull of blood, thicker than chosen ink. When Kai returned a week later, hollow-cheeked and clutching a battered family photo album, the airport reunion was a quiet unraveling, hug fierce in the baggage claim. Kai's face buried in Justin's neck, sobs muffled against flannel. He said it, "Hey, at the end. Proud of you, son. Too late? But fuck." They debriefed on the red line home. The train sway a cradle for confessions. Kai flipped through the album, fingers tracing faded Kodaks, little him in Oshkosh overalls, parents beaming at graduations he hadn't attended. "Mom wants me to stay. Help with the estate. Family duty, she calls it." Justin's stomach knotted. The word duty a dagger twist, his father's ghost nodding in agreement. "And you?" he asked, voice steady as he could muster. Kai leaned into him, curls tickling Justin's chin. "I said no. But it's eating me. What if I'm just like them, running when it hurts?" The vulnerability cracked Justin open. Memories flooding, his dad's back on the platform. The train's wail. "You're not. You came back." That's the difference. They kissed at their stop. Salt-tanged and urgent. A vow against the tide. Fall crept in with amber leaves and amber alish. The season of harvest and hollows. Kai threw himself into revisions for the LA screenplay. Pages curling like autumn vines across their shared desk, now a permanent fixture. Since he'd sublet his old place and moved the last of his boxes into the collective spare room. Justin watched the transformation. Kai's cat, Mr. Plot hole. Claiming the sunny windowsill, stacks of screenplays mingling with Justin's drafting pads. Lazy mornings where coffee steamed between them. Plotting not just stories, but life. But the inheritance call came like a cold front, Kai's mom. Voice brittle over speakerphone in their kitchen. Marco pretending not to eavesdrop from the fridge. "The house? Kieran. It's yours by right. Sell it? Live off it, come home." Kai's legal name. And used since Albany. Hung in the air like smoke. Key-based? Phone clutched white-knuckled. "Ma. It's Kai now. And home's here." The pause. Then her sigh, "Your father's will. He left a letter. For you." The package arrived 2 days later. Manila envelope sealed with regret. They opened it on the fire escape. City hum below. A joint passed between fingers for courage. Inside, a letter in spidery script. Yellowed edges speaking of bedside vigils. "Son, I was blind. Feared what I didn't know. Your books. Your life in that big city. Proud. Forgive if you can. 10 grand. And a key to the Albany house, empty now. echoing with ghosts. Kai wept then. Ugly and unfiltered. The joint forgotten on the railing. Justin held him through it. Back rubbed raw. Whispering, "It's okay to grieve the what-ifs." But doubt seeded. The money could fund Kai's dreams outright. No Hollywood strings. The house? A retreat for writing weekends. "What if we go?" Kai murmured later. "Tangled in sheets." "Just once." "Face it together." Justin nodded. Throat tight, facing his own station meant facing this. The road trip north was a pilgrimage in flannel and jeans. 90 stretching like a vein through Rust Belt relics. They stopped at diners for pie and confessions. Radio crooning Springsteen ballads of blue-collar breaks. Albany greeted them gray and guarded. The house a squat Victorian on a leaf-choked street. Key turning with a groan. Inside, dust motes dancing in slanted light. Furniture shrouded like mourners. Kai's old room a time capsule, posters of X-Men. Shelves of dog-eared comics. They aired it out. Windows flung wide. Laughter chasing specters as Kai recounted childhood pranks, rigging the stairs with whoopee cushions to scandalize his preacher uncle. Justin sketched the space, banisters as plot twists. Attic beams as rising action, turning memory to art. That night, over takeout pizza on the threadbare carpet, Kai's hand found his. "This isn't home anymore." "You are." Their lovemaking was slow, exploratory. Bodies mapping forgiveness on creaking floors, kisses like keystrokes. Building toward dawn. They sold the house sight unseen. Proceeds split, half to Kai's production fund. Half to the shelter's emergency youth grants. Back in Chicago, the wind off the lake felt cleaner, sharper. Winter wrapped them in wool and warmth. Holidays a raucous affair at the Collective, Ruby's eggnog spiked with secrets. Marco's feast spanning 3 tables pushed together. Justin's dad showed. Quieter now. Carving turkey with tentative jokes that drew real laughs. "Learning to swing a hammer?" Justin teased. Nodding to the tool belt peeking from his coat, community college carpentry. A step toward amends. New Year's brought resolutions etched in snow. Justin's vow to exhibit solo at the Cultural Center. Kai's to pitch the script sans compromise. Their love, tempered by trials, burned steadier, date nights at jazz dives in Hyde Park, where saxophones wailed like hearts mending, quiet hikes in the Indiana dunes, sand sifting through fingers like time's gentle theft. Spring 2027 bloomed defiant, tulips thrusting through frost-kissed soil. Delay. Now 17 and scholarship-bound for SAIC. Curated a youth show featuring Justin as mentor, Stations of the Soul. Pieces born from shared scars. The opening night was electric, gallery walls alive with color. Eli's voice steady as he toasted. To Justin, architect of afters. Kai's arm around his waist. Pride radiating. Whispered. Our family trees branching wild. Yet conflict simmered beneath the bloom. L.A. called again, the screenplay's greenlit. Director wants you on set. Kai's eyes lit like bioluminescence. But Justin caught the shadow. Distance? The beast that had devoured Alex. 6 months, Kai promised over breakfast burritos. Then back. We videoed it. You visit, make it a graphic novel of our separation angst. Justin forced a grin. But inside, the station echoed, don't follow. The goodbye at O'Hare was a gut punch, hug lingering too long. Kai's curls smelling of travel shampoo and trepidation. Write me every day, Justin murmured. pressing a sketched map into his palm. Their path? Looped eternal. Kai's flight boarded, and Justin rode the shuttle home alone. The skyline blurring through tears, a man remade, but still afraid of empty platforms. Months stretched like taffy, sweet but sticky. Packages arrived, Kai's script pages annotated with "Miss Your Red Pen." Jars of California honey labeled "Sweeter without you." Justin's exhibit reviews poured in. Resonant. A queer odyssey in line and shadow, but nights were hollow. The futon cold. The collective filled the gaps. Ruby's improv nights where he'd play straight man to her chaos. Marco's therapy circles dissecting long-distance laments. Lena's brunches dissecting Vanderpump Rules for catharsis. His dad's visits grew regular, awkward coffees at Intelligentsia, evolving to Cubs games where they shared peanuts and silences that softened to stories. "Missed your swing," the old man admitted once. Glove on lap like a truce flag. Justin nodded. The boy in him thawing, missed the game. Not the rules. Kai's updates crackled with excitement. First table read, electric. Then, directors pushing for reshoots. Another month. Justin's replies stayed light. But doubt festered. Photos on set with co-stars. Easy camaraderie that twisted like jealousy. A late-night call. Voice slurred by wine. "You seeing anyone? Be honest." Kai's laugh was tired. "Just ghosts." Gee. "And you?" The breaking point came in a storm, literal. Thunder rattling the collective's windows as Justin scrolled Instagram. A tagged photo stopping his heart. Kai. Arms slung around a producer type. Caption: "Late nights? Right vibes film fam." The ache bloomed to rage. Old wounds ripping open. He fired off a text. Right vibes? Or just convenient? Kai's call came instant. Voice frayed. "It's nothing, networking." "You know me." "Do I?" Justin snapped. Pacing the kitchen. Ruby's eyes wide from the couch. "Alex networked too." "Left me in the dust." Silence stretched. Then Kai's whisper, "I'm not him." "But maybe I'm scared. This dream's swallowing me. And you're the anchor I don't deserve." The confession hung, raw as flayed skin. "Come home," Justin pleaded. "We rebuild the dream here." Cut. 2 weeks later, suitcases thumping upstairs. Face gaunt but determined. "Quit the reshoots," he announced, dropping to knees before Justin. "You're my plot, my phoenix. Let's write the next act together, no coasts. Just us." Forgiveness was a floodgate. Tears mingling as they collapsed into each other. Bodies reaffirming vows in the dawn light. Summer sealed it. A courthouse wedding in Millennium Park. The collective as witnesses, Ruby officiating in a gown of recycled pride flags. Marco's cake a masterpiece of edible rings. Vows exchanged under the bean's reflective curve, from stations to stars. "I choose you." The reception spilled into the streets. A conga line of queers dancing defiance. Gears wove on. Threads of trial and triumph. Justin's studio thrived. Mentoring a new generation, Kai's novels hit bestsellers. Adaptations staying Chicago-rooted. The collective expanded, a non-profit hub for queer artists. Walls echoing with laughter and late-night edits. His dad, remarried to a widow from the mill, walked Justin's imaginary aisle in spirit. Toasting at barbecues with stories of grandkids on the way. Adopted, of course, Eli's first. On anniversaries, they'd return to the station, not in sorrow, But sacrament, hands linked on the platform. Trains whooshing past like cheers. From nothing, Justin would say. We built this. Kaiskis. Sun warmed, and it'll hold. The canvas stretched taut under Justin's hands. A blank expanse in the glow of his studio lamp. The one Kai had salvaged from a Wicker Park flea market and rewired with fairy lights for romantic angst sessions. It was late October 2030. The kind of crisp night where Chicago's skyline twinkled like a promise kept. And the collective, now a sprawling artist co-op in a converted Humboldt Park brownstone, hummed with the low buzz of creation, Lena's pottery wheel spinning downstairs. Marco's laughter booming from a video call with his twins. Ruby's voice warbling show tunes from the roof deck. Justin dipped his brush in cerulean, the color of Lake Michigan on stormy days, and slashed it across the white, bold, unapologetic, a wave crashing into memory. 5 years married, and their life was a tapestry he'd never dared sketch in his station days. Kai's latest novel, Phoenix Lines, optioned for a Steppenwolf production, Justin's murals dotting the city like queer beacons, from the Pride Torch in Boys Town to a sprawling history wall at the shelter. Now renamed Rising Roots. Delay. 20 and fierce. Apprenticed under him. His stutter a relic. Voice steady as he led workshops for runaways. Film. Finally, without the asterisk, had passed that spring, peaceful in his sleep, leaving a toolbox inscribed "Build On" and a quiet peace Justin carried like a talisman. But tonight's painting wasn't triumph, it was tremor. Kai had dropped the news over morning oatmeal. Casual as cream, LA's circling again. Not the full move, just consulting on the adaptation. 3 months. Tops. His eyes had danced. Curls tousled from sleep. But Justin's spoon had stilled. The station's chill seeping in despite the steam. 3 months, he'd echoed. Forcing levity. Long enough for you to forget my coffee order? Kai's laugh had bridged it. But the doubt lingered. The undercurrent pulling at their anchors. Alone with the canvas, Justin layered indigo over blue. Forms emerging, 2 figures on a platform, one reaching, the other receding, love's eternal tug. Footsteps padded behind him, Kai's arms encircling his waist, chin on shoulder. Stormy tonight? Kai murmured, lips brushing earlobe. Justin leaned back. Brush pausing. Just mapping the what-ifs. You gone. Me holding the fort. Kai turned him gently. Hazel meeting brown. Years of shared gazes etching lines of understanding. Not gone. Extended edition. And hey, think of the care packages. I'll send plot holes for you to fill. They made love then. Slow and sure on the studio rug, bodies a dialogue of touch. Whispers weaving vows anew. Promise you'll hate LA traffic enough to rush back, Justin teased post-climax. Fingers tracing Kai's spine. Deal, Kai grinned. And you'll send nudes that crash my inbox. Laughter sealed it. But sleep brought dreams, trains vanishing into fog. Hands slipping from his grasp. Kai's departure was a ritual by now, O'Hare ritual. With collective send-offs of baked goods and body toasts. Ruby pressed a sequined eye mask into his palm, for those red ice. Darling, while Eli hugged fierce, don't let the coasties dull your edge. Pops. Justin drove him to the gate. Their kiss lingering in the terminal hum. A public affirmation amid harried travelers. Call tonight, Kai said. Backpack slung. First script tweak. Justin nodded. Watching the security line swallow him. The ache familiar but fainter, trust. Burned in embers. Burned steady. The first weeks were a solo symphony. Justin dove into the co-op's expansion. Walls echoing with new voices. A non-binary sculptor from Detroit. A lesbian podcaster fleeing Texas heat. Mornings. He sketched over coffee. The city waking in golds and grays. Evenings. Collective dinners devolved into improv games. Marco's kids scampering under tables like feral joy. Kai's calls anchored the rhythm. Director's a diva. But the cast? Magic, texts peppered with selfies, him in palm tree shadow. Caption wishing for your flannel fortress. But month 2 brought static. Calls shortened. Excuses piling like unread emails. Rap party ran late. Love you. A photo dump from the set. Kai mid-laugh with the lead actor. Arms slung casual, stirred the old serpent. Jealousy coiling cold. Justin fired off a voice note. Tone sharper than intended, looking cozy out there. Don't forget the plot back home. Kai's reply was swift. Video call blooming on screen, face tired. Backdrop a hotel balcony overlooking smoggy sprawl. Gee. It's work. Flirty banter. Yeah. But you're the endgame. Always. The reassurance soothed. But fissures formed. Justin's painting evolved, figures blurring, colors bleeding into doubt. Eli noticed during a session. Blue streaks in his hair now purple. You okay? Boss? That platform's looking more like a battlefield. Justin sighed, wiping cobalt from his hands. Kai's orbits widening. Afraid I'll be the moon left behind. Eli's eyes, wise beyond years, softened. Then be the sun. Pull him back with your gravity. Thanksgiving arrived uninvited. The co-ops feast a boisterous shield. Ruby's turkey flambéed in absentia, a near-miss singe. Lena's vegan alternatives a flavor bomb. Marco's family spilling over like abundance. Justin plated seconds. Phone silent, no call from LA. Just a text at midnight, stuck in edits. Miss the chaos. Turkey dreams. Can't miss you more. Deleted. Sent save me a wing instead, like. But the hollow echoed. Kai returned early December. Surprise scaled, bursting through the door with takeout pho and a script bound in rainbow ribbon. Read it, he demanded, collapsing onto the couch amid cheers. Justin flipped pages, Phoenix lines. Their story, queered and queer, with a dedication sprawled in Sharpie, to my station savior, my forever draft. The airport reunion kiss was legend, passengers whooping as they clung. Steam fogging the glass. But reintegration was a real, Kai jet-lagged and jet-set. Anecdotes flowing like vintage wine. But Justin caught the drift, mentions of the team, plans for festival runs. One night, post-co-op open mic where Kai read a monologue that gutted the room. Justin confronted it over whiskey neat. You're glowing with it, Thrush. But us? We're dimming. Kai's face fell. Glass midway to lips. No. Good. It was a high-wire act, thrilling. But I missed the net. Q. Words bridged. But actions lagged. January thawed into a cold snap of arguments. Justin snapping at forgotten laundry. Kai retreating to his laptop till 3 a.m. The climax crested in February. A blizzard blanketing the city white. Power flickering as they hunkered in the studio. Kai's phone buzzed, a callback for a lead role. Voiceover for the adaptation. This could be it. Stability. For us. Justin's voice rose. brush clattering, or another 3 months. When does the dream eat the life we built? Kai's retort stung. Maybe the dream is the life you built from nothing. Why can't I chase mine without guilt? The words hung. A mirror to the station, pursuit as abandonment. Silence stretched, snow muffling the world, until Justin whispered, "Because I can't lose you to it." Not like that. Kai crossed the room, knees to floor, hands clasping Justin's. Then we rewrite. No full dives, consults only. You're my north. Always. Therapy followed. Rhea's office and neutral ground where they unpacked the pole, Kai's Albany orphaning. Justin's platform scar. Love's not a solo flight, she counseled. It's tandem, glide together. They emerged lighter. Vowing check-ins, weekly, orbit talks, no-go zones for resentment. Spring green the fishers. Co-op blooming with collaborations, a graphic novel series. Collective constellations. Kai's words illustrated by Justin's hand. Eli's wedding to his partner, a quiet affair in the garden. Vows under wisteria, drew tears and toasts. The old man's absence a gentle ache, filled by stories swapped over cake. Pride that year was pilgrimage, their float, tethered flames. A kinetic sculpture of linked figures defying wind. The crowd's roar a baptism. By summer solstice, the painting hung in the co-op gallery, tug of tides. Blues resolving to unity. Figures entwined against the horizon. Opening night, Kai's arm around him. Whispered, our best draft yet. Guests milled, ruby in emerald velvet. Marco's kids finger painting the walls, while Justin's eyes found Eli. Now a father-to-be. Sketching beside his husband. Fall 2031 whispered of legacy, Justin's TEDx talk. From platforms to phoenixes. Viral in queer circles, Kai's Emmy nod for the voiceover. Accepted via Zoom from their bed. Justin's hand in his. The collective anchored it all, a family fractal. Expanding yet intimate. Walls etched with phoenixes in every medium. One November Eve, as first snow dusted the brownstone, they walked to Union Station, not for ghosts, but grace. The platform gleamed under lights, trains humming hymns of motion. Kai pulled a flask from his coat, Jameson, for old times. To the boy who stayed, he toasted, eyes crinkling. Justin clinked, warmth spreading, to the man who returned. Every time, they boarded no train. Just stood, hands woven, city pulsing around them. From abandonment's void, they'd forged not just survival, but sacrament, a family of fire and ink, unbreakable as dawn. And in that quiet vigil, Justin knew the nothing had birthed everything, and it would endure.